everybody, how are you? Happy Friday. It's our Friday live as usual on CraftStash here at 12:30. That's obviously British time. If you're anywhere else in the world, welcome. We love having you here as well. I love that we get people watching from America, from Australia. But if you're doing that, please do let me know what time of day it is for you. So we've got a really exciting launch today. So not only do we have a launch, we also have some other items and offers that you are going to adore. Everyone loves a magazine, and part of Practical Publishing, which you can see there, the logo. Many of you probably don't know that actually CraftStash is kind of a sister company to Practical Publishing. They're kind of all in the same office, the editors and the people who work on CraftStash. We're one big family. Now, Practical Publishing have many, many magazines, craft magazines, so sewing, crochet. We've obviously got card making, stamping, die cutting. There's lots and lots of elements to it, all based around craft. And within this, what we don't usually do is shout about the launches too much. So we thought, do you know what? Simply Cards and Papercraft launched yesterday, so we're going to shout about that from the rooftops this week. Not only that, we are going to be giving away a 6-month subscription to one of you. That's today, that's within the next hour. So what I want you to do straight away is start commenting for me, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, because I'll scroll through both. I'll try and do that. I'm kind of on my own today, so I need octopus arms. But I'll try and scroll through the comments at the end, and we'll randomly pick someone. Now, what I'd like you to comment is, what is your favourite craft magazine? It could be soft crafts, it could be, you know, knitting, sewing, crochet, whatever it may be. It could even be things like cake decorating or paper crafts, whatever you would like a magazine on. It may be that we already do one, or it may be one that maybe no one's ever thought of. I'd love to see a kind of mixed media magazine maybe in the future. That would be good fun. So just let me know what your favourite sort of magazine might be, if you could invent one, imagine one, or what your favourite one is, and we will put you in the hat to win a 6-month subscription. So that's worth over £50. So like I say, we are launching a brand new magazine today. Simply Cards and Papercraft is only $8.99. This is issue 232. Now that's crazy. Now, I have to tell you a little story before we get demonstrating, and this is why magazines are so close to my heart. So my entire paper crafting journey actually began with magazines. So I was on holiday and I was bored. It was a caravan holiday. It was September. It was with a 3-year-old and a 6-month-old. It was not good fun because it rained the whole week. So I popped along to the shop to try and find some magazines, some books, some sweets to keep us all amused in the caravan. There was very little we could do. I think the swimming pool was closed as well, randomly. And the only magazine I could find that looked remotely interesting was a craft magazine. So I took that home, or back to the caravan, read that, and I was hooked straight away. It was actually a scrapbooking magazine. Now, the scrapbook magazine used to be part of Practical Publishing years ago. Sadly, it's no longer a thing, but it ran for a long time, and I was really privileged eventually to start designing for Scrapbook magazine. That also led into designing for Simply Cards and Papercraft, die cutting essentials, and so on and so forth. So that's where everything for me began. So that's why I love magazines. And I'm going to say hello to a few people. This is going to be a nice relaxed live, because I'm on my own and I don't want to rush myself, but also because it's just something a little bit different. We're going to make a couple of cards using 2 of the new magazines. Now, there's the magazine that obviously has launched this week that we're very excited about, but there's also a new creative stamping magazine that I'd like to take a look at too. So Lynn Bell, she loves Practical Publishing as well. Thank you. Hello to you. Hello to Sue Pollock. Hello to Kate Baker. Now, Kate Baker has said her favourite craft magazine is Simply Cards and Papercraft. Excuse the hair today, everybody, by the way. I'm just brushing it off my face. I'm quite fluffy today. It was a go for a run, have a shower, and I haven't got time to do anything with it. Your subscription has just ran out. Well, Kate, you've already said which your favourite magazine is. You could potentially be winning that next 6 months. How amazing is that? That would be good. Jennifer Tompkins says, yep, Simply Papercraft as well, or Simply Cards and Papercraft. Karen, she loves creative stamping. The stamps every month are fantastic. I would have them all if I could. I know. Do you know what? I used to, when my daughter was little, before I had my son, it was after I had my son. It was when my son was in a pushchair. I used to wander down to the shop literally every day just to go and see if there was then a new Papercraft magazine out, because there's lots of them about, isn't there? There's all the different types. So should we come down to the desk next and let's have a look at this magazine. Now, this one is very special because look at the front of it. look at what you're going to be getting with it. So I recognise that person. Randomly, there's two completely different photos of me, both on the magazine and on this packaging, but sorry about that. Oh, I've got fluffy hair in all of them as well. It's a sign. I should have fluffy hair today. So first of all, you're going to be getting this die set. Now, this die set is a spin-off. It's kind of a mini version of one of the first ever textures die sets that I did. Really absolutely loved it. It flew out, it's sold out. We have now got it in a version. It's slightly different but similar. This is a smaller mini version of it, which I love, because you could do, if you did get the original Reflections owl, the layering owl set, you could put that owl alongside this smaller one as child and parent or grandparent or something like that. You could really have some fun with them. But if you didn't get the textures one, you've got one in here. Now, what we did say in the office, the packaging's a bit misleading because of the size, but you know, you're still getting your die. Now, this is a special die because it not only cuts, you've got elements that you can lift up for the feathers, you've got scoring lines in here too to add detail in, and then you've also got all these gaps in the die where you can do your stenciling in. So I'll do some techniques with that a bit later. Then you've got the slightly larger outer die, which is going to cut you a border if you want to put a border or drop shadow behind it, sort of matte and layer, or as I'm going to be using it, cutting an aperture into a card for it. So it's the perfect size for that. So you're getting both dies with the magazine. We will go into the magazine in a moment. If you've got your magazine coming or you've grabbed it and you haven't had a chance to look through it and you don't want to see, maybe just put the sound on and just kind of don't look at the screen for a few minutes while I go through it, because I will be flicking through for you. So then you also get the stamp sets. Okay, I'm going to run through some other offers for you in a little while too, because there's so much going on when it comes to magazines at the moment. So you've got here, love, cherish, adore, happy birthday, may all your dreams come true, heartfelt wishes, another year wiser, owl always love you, create moments, art and wisdom. Now, of course, these are all in the typical textures fonts. So you've got the brush script and you've got the solid like Dymo label type fonts there. So they're coming with the magazine. Now, bear in mind, this is $8.99. Let me just come back very quickly just so you can see the details. Ta-da, $8.99. That, the die in the stamp set, has got to be worth that on its own. One thing I didn't mention actually, today and today only, if you're spending over £30 on CraftStash items, anywhere on CraftStash, you're going to get the option of a free magazine. There's 3 to choose from, okay? So brilliant. There's other offers as well. So there's things like, I haven't written these down, these are going from memory. So there's box kits over on CraftStash. They are only £5. I was going to say £5.99. I think they're only £5. There's John Next Door. There's Chloe's cards. There's Hunky Dory. There's other ones as well. Other ones as well. There's so many of them. I can't list them all because I have no memory. But yeah, so when it comes to magazines, you've got a fantastic deal. Oh, Love Sewing as well. I think it's 2 magazines for a tenner. Something crazy like that. Anyway, 2 magazines for something amazing. Go and have a look at the offers section on CraftStash. So the magazine now, just a quick warning, I'm going to flick through it for you. Let's have a look. Who have we got? Just very quickly coming back to you all. Hello to Maureen York. How are you? Amanda Marlowe. She likes Die Cutting Essentials. Yeah, I worked on the very first issue of Die Cutting Essentials. That's like my claim to fame. Heather Daniel, Creative Stamping. She loves that one. They have great ideas and stamps. Now, you're in New Zealand. It's 11:40. You've put OM, my love. So I'm assuming, let me think, must be PM for you because you're behind us, aren't you? I think. Yeah, yeah, must be PM. I'm guessing, let me know. But New Zealand, so you can get it over there. Creative Stamping is your favourite. Ali says that. Marie has said she's torn between Simply Cards and Die Cutting Essentials. Hello to Joe Crafty too. As always, I love your name. So many comments. I will read through some more in a little while. Okay, so now we've got the lovely Becky, who's the editor. She's been editor for a very, very long time. She's kind of the editor boss of many of the magazines. And it was her birthday the other week. So happy belated birthday to Becky as well. You always get your little, it's always worth actually reading the editor's note. I know the editors put a lot of work into those to make sure you've got a snapshot of everything that's in the magazine there, so you can kind of quickly flick to the bit you really want to see. So straight to the cards. Now, first of all, this is not a magazine all about me, okay? It just seems that way with the front cover and the gifts, and then the first lot of projects, but they always do this. So all the magazines, the very first projects in the magazine are going to be with what you're getting with it. Okay, so it just works out like that. Once you get further in, you don't see me anymore, so don't worry, you do get inspiration from other designers. So my brief was to create some mixed media cards, which I think I did, but a gentle mixed media that anyone can try if they've not tried mixed media before. So it's kind of card making with a little mixed media hint in there. Of course, you've got all your photo steps and such. Now, just doing a very quick flick, there's more in there as well. Look at these. These are contemporary cards. Absolutely gorgeous from Effie there. You've got beautiful colouring from Jessica there as well with stamping. Love that. I love that we get so many photo steps. We've got, oh, Ingrid is extremely talented. She's in virtually every issue of Simply Crafts as well. Let's flick through. Marta. Now, Marta, I'm apologise, I couldn't put the link in, but Marta has created these cards, but she's also got videos. Check her out on YouTube and Facebook, Drop of Sunshine. She's very, very talented, and she has some wonderful videos going up, so please go and find her over on those two channels. We have got, using this owl, Mel has created these fantastic felt elements. So you've got the felt that's gone on the bag, you've got the hanger, I never would have thought to do like a mobile with it, it's really cool. And then you've got the framed piece as well. I think that's enough flicking through that. There's a lot more. I mean, I'm only on page 32 and it goes up to 82, so there's a lot more in there for you to see. But I also want to introduce you to Creative Stamping that has just come out as well. This is another magazine I adore working with. Stamping, I think, just offers you so many different techniques. You're never going to get bored of it as such. There's always something new around the corner, and with all the inks and mediums and things like that that are on the market, there's always something new to learn, and this is what that magazine does. You can learn so much from it. This is our lovely Nikki. If you watch on Craft World, if you watch Ready Steady Craft, you've seen Nikki crafting a few times in the past, and hopefully again very soon. Now, we've got a fantastic stamp set and die set with this one. So look at this A4 stamp set. It's huge, isn't it? It's absolutely huge. So it's all very much a seaside theme. You've got your postcard images there. You've got your lighthouse, your gorgeous cottage by the sea. I want that. Now, I don't live too far from the coast, not that close. I would love to live somewhere like that. I'm house hunting at the moment, so if anyone's selling something like this by the coast, please do let me know. You've got the fabulous boat, fisherman's boat. You've got the fish and chips with the lemon on as well. Now, that makes me want to just go out and get some right now. You've got the seagull on the post there. What is it called? So they're like the breakers, aren't they, in the sea? The posts that you have up the beach. Are they breakers? Let me know. I've had a little bit of a slow mind today, remembering things. You've got the boat and the oar as well, and then some amazing sentiments too. Oh, you're the fish to my chips. I love that. Whatever floats your boat, relax, you deserve it. You're my anchor. Now I'm going to be using that one when I do my card. And then we've got the die set that has best and birthday and wishes in die form. Okay, is it time to get straight on to demonstration? I think so. So, lots of you commenting which magazine is your favourite. So if you're commenting which is your favourite, one of you is going to win a 6-month subscription to Simply Cards and Papercraft, okay? And I tell you what, you'll win a 6-month subscription. I'm going to be nice now. If you are not already subscribed or you've not already bought this issue, because you won't get this with your subscription, it will start from next month, I will send this to you as well, and I think I've got spares of these that I can send you to. Okay, so obviously the subscription will start coming next month. We would need a postal address, a phone number, obviously full name. I think that's all we need from you. I'll double check that, but yeah, and then I will need your postal address because I can send you this issue as well. How's that? So it's a little bit extra to the prize. Hello, Marta, would you like to pop that link in, because I couldn't do it? So if you could do it for me, please. Marta's going to drop you all a link in the comments to where you can find her and find videos, because she makes some amazing crafts. Right, so this owl, let's see. I have got a rubber mat for my die cutting machine. Not essential, but it definitely makes the most out of this die. I've got a white card base. I've got a mint green, a peachy, corally kind of colour, and a craft cardstock. Now, I just love that colour combination. It looks beautiful, especially if you've got some twine or something, or pearls that go with it. Obviously, I've got the dies and such as well. so let's take these out. There's a lot more that I want to tell you. There's so many offers. Do you know what? Simply Made Crafts, there's a deal of the day today, 70% off a stamp and die set, journaling stamp and die set. So if journaling's your thing, go and find that as well. Like I say, box kits are down to some of them £5. There's an offer on buying any Two Love sewings. There's very often magazine deals as well anyway, where buy one, I'm not even going to try and guess the offer. Please go to magazines on CraftStash or go to offers and you'll see everything there. I will get it all wrong. I should have written a lot more down. Now let's start with the pinky colour, and I'm just going to trim this down, because the reason I trim it down as much as possible, if I try and run a big sheet through my die cutting machine and I'm only wanting to cut a little bit, this piece going through the machine might start getting little marks and dinks in it from paper that's caught in my plates, or it might scuff the edges. So I do cut my papers down as small as I can get away with. Now I need this a little bit larger because I need to tape it. The tape, I believe, is still in stock on CraftStash. You went crazy for it. We did get a lot in, and we needed to, obviously. It's the low tack tape that holds your dies down and helps you with masking, things like that. You get the holder and 3 rolls for $4.99. How good's that? So if you do need to ever top up your order so that it comes over £30, because let me just come back to this, is if you look at this banner and you just look there, £30, you get free delivery in the UK. Okay, I think that goes up to about $80 in the US, something like that, but £30 in the UK. So if you ever need to top it up, it's a good idea to do things like your adhesives, your cardstock, things like that, because we've got it all. So popping this into my die cutting machine. So all I'm going to do first of all is cut, just without the rubber mat. Let's bring this in a little bit so you can see it. I was trying to clear myself space. I was actually crafting right up until the final minute today. So I've got, you wouldn't believe the mess that is surrounding. I mean, this is bad enough for me, isn't it? Everybody who knows me knows I usually craft tidy. This is super messy. But around it is even worse. Okay, so let's have a look at this owl when we cut it. So can you see there? Let's hold it. Can you see we have got some fabulous ruffles around the chest that have all been cut into, so you can lift those up. The eyes are cut out, and there's the little feet as well, which you can roll out. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but because I know the lights glare. Now I'm going to keep that on there, and I'm going to put into my die cutting machine a thin rubber mat. Most cutting machines will come with one. If you don't have one, you can use something like a piece of, you know, your fun foam. And what you want to do is make sure that the rubber mat is going onto the paper, not onto the die. So put it onto the paper, because what's going to happen is the die is going to press into the rubber mat, and the rubber mat is going to squish the paper up into the die and into these gaps on here, giving you that embossed look. For those of you who are new to paper crafting and die cutting, you may not have actually worked out, why do we do this? Why do we use a rubber mat with some dies? It doesn't work with all dies, but it does with some. And this one is actually made to work in that way. So you always get this very sticky. So peel that off, put that to the side. I've just put it on my trimmer, which I know I'm going to need in a little while. Okay, now I'm just going to peel back the tape gently, just to release Mr. Owl. Is it Mr. or Mrs.? I think she's a Mrs. today. I'm going to have a Mrs. Owl. Let me see. Lovely. Thank you, Marta. Thank you for putting that in there. Joe Crafty loves buying magazines to build up her stash. Yes, so the amount that you get within a magazine is well worth the price of a magazine, isn't it? It always is. Let me come over to I was going to say a particular auction selling site, then that's not what I mean. Come over to YouTube. I don't know, I must have seen an advert or something on here, because I Rena Hurst, her favourite magazine is Die Cutting Essentials or Creative Stamping, both practical publishing magazines. I'm very pleased to hear that. Sharon Slatterer said Creative Stamping. Do you know what so many of you are saying? Creative Stamping and Simply Cards and Papercraft. Well, isn't that a coincidence, since that's what I've got today? You can by all means mention other magazines, I don't mind. I'm just interested to know which are your favourites. I shouldn't lean too far forward, you get my nose in there. So let's take this out. Okay, now I'm really hoping you can see the additional detail in there. Can you see that? It's gorgeous, isn't it? So it's got this camera. If I bring it too close, it actually goes blurry. So I need to bring it a little bit lower down to be in focus. You've got so much detail. It's beautiful embossed like that. You can see you've got the eyes out. So you've still got the areas that will lift up all this feathering around here. If I turn it around, hopefully that's no easier to see. You can see all the feathering. You can lift up, you can start rolling with your pokey tool, the same with the feet. Now I'm going to pop this back into the die though. Pop you in there we go. Now where did I put, I'm going to have to bring this over because I'm not sure quite where I put my clear blending mat. It's usually here. I've usually got it right here and it's not today. I told you it was a mess. Never like this, never. Let's come with brushed corduroy, yeah, brushed corduroy. And let's pick out the detail. Now you can ink onto dies. I know many dies do this now. You can do that. Just make sure you wipe your die afterwards. Now, can you see mine looks patchy? I was testing out using texture pastes with it. It kind of works, but you don't want to use too much texture paste because if you use too much, it does get underneath. And it's a good idea if you're going to ink like this, do that embossing first. Even if you aren't worried about the embossed look, do the embossing anyway, because what that does is that pushes the paper up into the spaces and that prevents any sort of bleed through of the ink. Okay, it just makes it a bit of a tighter seal. I'm using a brush rather than a foam blender because all the bristles are going to get into all the little nooks and crannies, left, right, up, down, make sure everything is inked and covered and no small areas, because there are some really small details on this die. Make sure nothing's missing. There we go. Inky fingers, an inky brush, but that's fine, pop that away. So let's just pop this out as well. So now you can really see that detail in there. Isn't that lovely? So I can take now my pokey tool and I can just roll these small areas, just the feathers. I mean, you can go with as many of the feathers as you want. I'm not going to do too many. I don't want it to be too dimensional, that's the word. And the ear feathers as well. So with regards to your die, if you do ink it, like I say, do give it a wipe, do give it a clean. Okay, I'm just going to use a wet wipe for this. You can run it under the tap, but it is essential that you dry it properly. Please do dry it properly, because if you don't, you could of course end up, although it's coated, you could end up with ruining the metal if it's left damp for any amount of time, because it is metal. Okay, so if you use a wet wipe, they actually dry quicker than just water, don't they? It kind of evaporates. Right, so now I've got two of these. I've got one here that I did earlier as well, and I am going to be placing those back to back for this card. Okay, so it's going to be a spinny owl. Let's prepare the rest of the card using the outline die. Lots of comments. Hello to you. Do you know what? You're getting busier and busier on YouTube every week. We've only just recently, in the last few months, come back to YouTube again, using YouTube again for the Friday live. So really lovely to see you here. Oh, Karen Price, what ink colour is that? That is brushed corduroy and that is in the oxides. Inks will work just as well. That's that one. Mary, I just made an order. I got the free offer of a magazine, but unfortunately added £11 to the cost of postage. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. Oh, yeah, because you're in New Zealand, aren't you? Oh, no. Pooja, I need to make a card for hubby's birthday on Monday. I still haven't started yet. What is he into? Let me know. Not that I can help very much from here, but here's a shout. What does he like? Now, I'm going to use this lovely green colour. It's like a mint green, and I'm just going to, this is really proper crafting from nothing. I haven't prepared much at all, except that second owl, because you didn't want to see me do that twice. I'm going to bring in my trimmer. I've just marked around my card with a pokey tool. Bring my trimmer in and cut this. So I've just got the little scratch line in the paper that I can use, and pop that there. So that just means I haven't got any pencil marks or pen marks to have to erase afterwards. That should fit on the front of my card like so. Now I always do that by eye. Any of you who know me, I don't tend to measure much at all unless I'm doing something with moving parts, a Kinetic card, or making a template for you where you would prefer to have measurements. Otherwise I just do it all by eye. just think, well, if it looks okay, no one's going to notice, are they? There we go. So pop that, like I say, taking a look, making sure that border is straight. If you use a trimmer, it's always going to be right angles anyway. Make sure it's a nice even border all the way round. Then I'm going to take this part. So this is the outline die, and I'm going to open my card up and tape this down. Where's my low tack tape? Just tape this down so that it's central. Again, if you prefer to measure to make sure it's right in the middle, you can do that. Look how handy this tape dispenser is. Actually, I'm going to tape, I should have done it with this one. Let's quickly lift it off before it goes through the pressure of the machine. Put your tape on the bit that's going to be the waist, which in this case will be the centre. Now, is this going to fit in sideways? It will just fit, but in case you do a card that's too wide, it's a good idea. You can fold it over. So folding the back of the card over on top of the die and then cutting it that way. You're going to get a slight indentation on the back of the card, but if you're like me, if you're covering the inside of the card anyway, or if you put an insert in, it doesn't matter. It really won't show. So there we go. So you can just see a slight indentation on the back. It's actually really cool. You could put another owl on the back there if you wanted to, and that should have cut through. Let's just release the tape gently. There we go. We've now got our owl aperture. We've also got a lovely owl here that we can use another time. So that would be, if I just show you, be gentle with your tape when it's brand new like mine. Come on, Mr. Outline. So that will fit that over the top. You can see the border. So if you're putting them directly onto a card, you've got the shadow border there. Let's take this tape off and put it here so I can use that another time. Okay, oh, that's my chair, by the way. I still haven't greased it and I still haven't purchased a new one. It's on my to-do list. It will get done eventually. Sorry, any noises. It's not me, I promise. It's my chair. Hi Lou. My hubby likes sports of all kinds, but not into themed cards. I'm thinking of going trusty mixed media way. Absolutely. Go for a colour scheme, a masculine colour scheme then instead of a theme, if he's not into themed cards. Now, does anyone, this is a general question, I hope we've got some gentlemen watching. If you're watching, you've probably actually got a different answer. My husband basically tells me that every single card I make is amazing, wonderful, the best. I'm not sure he really knows what he's talking about. So is that a general thing with husbands, partners, fathers, sons, men? I didn't want to put you in the same basket there, but or are they just saying it to keep us happy? I don't think he really knows. I think he just thinks, well, he couldn't make it, so it must be good. I'm going to go with that. So before I do the next stage, I'm just going to do some stamping. So I'm going to take these, let's pop that out of the way. Let's go with I will always love you. I really love this sentiment. And I'm going to look for, I think, let's try bundled sage. Yeah, let's try bundled sage. What I'm doing is I want a colour that's going to be slightly darker than this. In fact, I can try it on here. Yeah, can you see? That's slightly dark. It's not dark at all, slightly darker. So take a stamping platform, a smaller one than this would be ideal really. And let's start just stamping. I should have done this before I did anything else, before I stuck it on, but I didn't, so never mind. And I'm just going to stamp all over the background, kind of keeping it in line so I don't have any missed spots. And it's going to make the background look patterned with this fun sentiment, and it's all going to tie in, but it's subtle pattern. So it's not too detailed there. Have you all commented? Have you all let me know what's your favourite craft magazine, or what craft magazine you would love for people to produce if they could? And I will pick a winner of that 6-month subscription towards the end. Now let's just going to pop a bit of paper there. Oh, let's find a straight edge, just so that I don't stamp onto the white. There, always love you, very sweet. There we go. There's my chair again. Every time I twist, I've just inked that. I'm putting all my inks back. I'm being very good at putting things away. So we've just got the pattern paper there. Now I think I could actually also let's use that again. Crafting off the cuff, is that the word? So do any of you purchase magazine box kits? You know, like the John Next Door, like the Chloe's Cards ones, the Hunky Dory ones. Altenew did one once. We've not seen it again. I love that. Phil Martin, Sentimentally Yours. Sincerely Yours, for goodness sake. They're fabulous, aren't they? Look at that. You get so much in them, you really do. There's also Craft World ones. Craft World have done a couple of these box kits where you just get so much in them and then all the inspiration you need. Now, the reason I've got my bobbins here is because I am going to be popping a thread in. Now, I'm thinking my thread wants to be as close a colour to the background as I can get it. So I think it might have to be, that's a bit bright. It might have to be this one, which isn't really a perfect match, but it's fine. So I'm going to try and find the end. Do you think maybe I should have found the end to this before we started? There it is, look. That wasn't too bad, was it? So with, where's that bit that cut out earlier? Here it is. So I'm just going to use this. I would use it for something else usually. I'm just going to pop my heat gun on because a heat gun is much, much easier. So I'm going to snip some white paper into 2 bars. 1, 2, there. These bits are all going to have to go away, I'm afraid, in the bin. I can't use those much more now, nor that. And what I'm going to do is I am going to wrap the thread around one of those bars. Do you know what, you can use hot glue, but you can also use, if you don't have hot glue, you can use double-sided tape. I have some here that will work just equally as well. And pop that over, and that's going to secure that thread for you. There we go. Actually, let's leave the backing on for a moment. Let's not get ahead of myself. Now, if I lay that thread down, I'm going to put one of my owls underneath it and run that down the centre. And again, I want to have, whoops, I'm picking it up, look. How has that even happened? The thread has gone through the tape. It's like magic. Let's try this again. Let's put that down there. Needs to come a little bit lower. There we go. Now bear in mind the distance between the top of your owl in the aperture and the top of the card. You don't want the card to come too far up. So I think there's about fine. Pull that nice and tight. I'm going to go quiet because I'm concentrating. Trying to get this as accurate as possible. There we go. I'm actually going to turn my glue gun off because I'd rather show you without a hot glue gun, because I know not everybody has one, not everybody likes to use them. And very often when I use a glue gun, I think people assume that you have to use a glue gun. You absolutely don't. And then, because I've got my double-sided tape there, I can put my second owl directly over the top. Can we give owl a name? Can we have some names in the comments, please? That would be fabulous, because I think, what is he called? He's just Textured Owl. He definitely needs a name. And then I'm going to come back in. Let's use Walnut Stain and just ink the edge of him. Now you can do a lot more with this owl. So as you've seen, the stenciling and the embossing and the die cutting, but you can also snip into him and you can layer elements up. Now I know I do that in some of my tutorials in the magazine. There's lots of other people have used it, have played with it as well, and done some beautiful things. There's a gorgeous card on the front of the magazine. Let's just bring this in. Look at the colourways on that. I love that. Isn't it wonderful? Okay, let's pop this on here. So what you want to do now is place your owl in the aperture. Scissors, here we go. I'm going to snip this quite long. There we go. So I've given myself a good sort of, I don't know, 8 centimetres? A complete guess. let's take this other piece. It's got a piece of green glue to, there we go. It's ideal if it's the same colour as the inside of your card. Let's just pop that there. Now I'm going to wrap this around again, around this piece of card, just as I did the first time. Wrap it around a few times until you start getting close. Then we can start working out. Does it need to come round once more? I think so. There we go. Okay, happy with that. So I'm going to stick exactly the same, double-sided tape. I'm just going to stick this to secure the thread and then also onto the back of the card. So now I think we're ready. Take the backing off of these tabs. Let's do this bottom one since I'm just here. Pull that nice and tight. Position the owl in the aperture. So you've got a nice even border all the way around, nice and tight and nice and central as well. And then do the same with the top one, and that should hold the owl in place, bobbing around inside the aperture. Just pop any loose threads onto the tape before you put that on there. So, like I say, lifting that up, just pull that really tight. Obviously not so tight that you're putting too much tension on the thread. There we go. And then as I lift that up, look, there we go. How fun is he? He's a dizzy owl, isn't he? I love him. He's brilliant. So you can then, of course, add a sentiment onto there or inside if you want to, but I just think that's great. And obviously playing around with that, I have now popped down a lot of the pieces that I lifted up, but you can go back now and you can lift those pieces up and you can give him some dimension. So there's something you can be doing with the owl die that comes with Simply Cards and Papercraft. That is out now. It's in the shops. It's on CraftStash. You are getting this for just $8.99, including all the stamps, including the dies as well. An absolute bargain. If you are spending over £30, you get free delivery anyway. If you spend over £30, you're going to then get, let's bring you back to the offers. If you spend over £30, you're going to get your, that's on anything on CraftStash, you don't have to buy magazines with that, but you're going to then get your offer of 3 different magazines. You can take one of those. I must admit, I can't remember. I think there is a creative stamping in there. I think there is, oh no, there's definitely a Simply Cards and Papercraft in there. One issue from a few months ago, so that's in there to choose from. So yeah, go and have a look at that. So you'll get your free delivery anyway because you've spent £30. You'll get a free magazine or the option that will offer you at checkout, by the way. No code for either of these offers. That's $8.99. Maybe you also want to pop in your creative stamping. So shall we move on to creative stamping? Now we've seen a demonstration from Simply Cards and Papercraft. So don't forget, lots of you commenting about which is your favourite magazine. I'm going to choose a winner for that 6-month subscription after this demonstration. Where are we? Oh, blimey, I've talked for 40 minutes already and only done one demo. Sometimes I need somebody in the comments or in the studio with me to just say, come on, speed it up, hurry up. Working again? Oh. Were you having issues? Hopefully, nobody else has commented that I can see, so hopefully you're all okay. Oh, Rena, recently her CraftStash orders have been coming fast. Now, is that because you're ordering every single day or is that because the delivery is just really good? I think the delivery is brilliant. Crafty88, you've never made a card like that. Oh, so simple. When you've got an outline die for something, you can do it with many different shapes. So let's move on from die cutting to a bit of stamping. So we've got these wonderful stamps in here along with this magazine. So we have a very quick flick through the magazine. This one's been out for a week or 2 now, but if you've not picked it up, maybe your local shop's not had it, maybe you didn't realise you could buy the magazines on CraftStash. Not everybody thinks about it. You think about all your supplies, as in your tools, your products for making things, but do you realise we've got all the magazines there? Oh look, summer sale, subscription sales. Look at that. When you subscribe, oh, there's puzzles in there. When you subscribe, you're obviously going to get different offers. So at different times of the year, there's different subscription offers. So it's worth checking those out if you're thinking about subscribing to anything. So for example, this is the most recent issue. So at the moment, if you subscribe to Creative Stamping, as you can see, you've got this issue here. This is how recent it is. You would get a Lisa Horton Ultimate Multi-Tool worth £50. What a bargain. So it's well worth, if you're going to your shops and you're buying a magazine every month or whenever it comes out, every few weeks when it comes out, why not get it on subscription? Because then you've got only a discount on the magazines. So you do get them for less, and then you get your free gift, and then you also get, I believe, free delivery. I'm pretty sure you get free delivery with those as well. It's all here. Free delivery direct to your door. Never miss an issue. Save money on every issue. Yeah, and all the usual things that you get with your magazines. So, I love this one. This is kind of the closest maybe to a mixed media magazine that you're probably going to get at the moment, unless you go with something like there's box kits that have a bit more mixed media in them. Love the fish and chips. Right, let's delve into a demo because I've only got 20 minutes left. Let's make this nice and quick. Oh, I love this. Look, you get colouring inspiration on the back sheet of the stamp set. I'm going to be working with this wonderful lighthouse. I adore a lighthouse. Ollie the Owl. Yes, my son's called Oliver. Why didn't I think Ollie the Owl? There we go. We've got a name. I don't know if anyone else has given a name, but that's Karen Price on YouTube. That's the first name I've seen. Thank you very much. We're going to call him Ollie now. I don't like that people call my son Ollie. Love the name, but his name is Oliver. He is not an Ollie. Now, I have teamed with this stamp set. I've teamed some nesting dies that you'll probably still find on CraftStash. I must admit, I didn't check that they were in stock, but the cross-stitch nesting die set in tags from Daisy May Designs. Go find these. They're absolutely fantastic. And if you don't have nesting dies that are small enough, so as you see here, there's 4 fabulous shapes. But if I wanted to just do a very small matten layer, obviously I don't have the die for it. So what I've done instead is I've cut 2 of the same size, one from a dark, one from a light, and I'm going to pop these together but slightly offset them, just so you get, let's put them on there for example. Can you see? So you just get the drop shadow. So it's not quite a border the same way as you would if you were using nesting dies, but can you see the brown border? There we go. Okay, so I've got the tag. What's that bit? I don't know what that bit's for. Oh, that's for doing the embellishments afterwards. I've done the embellishments already. I think I'm going to need them today. Now, I'm also teaming this with a backing paper that has come from one of my textures ranges because I just can't help but mix in textures with everything. And this is from the Vintage Travel Collection. And it's the clouds one, and I just think it's going to work really well with the lighthouse in the background with the browns and the ivory colour. So I'm using a watercolour cardstock here for the stamping technique that I'm going to be doing in a moment. So I didn't want a bright white within the papers. Oh, that was me crashing my trimmer a moment ago, by the way. No harm done anywhere here. Bang, crash, wallop. There we go. So just scratch my cardstock. Little bits like this and we save because they just look so pretty. And I can't throw anything away. So let's cut my matten layer again for this. Now the inspiration for the colours has come from the paper. I very often do that. Go for the backing paper and then use that for the inspiration for the colours. I need to replace the blade on my trimmer. I've had it in there for about 6 months or so. I have got replacement blades for that one. So it's starting to feather. You see the white feathering around the edge? That's when you know you need to change your blade, so I'll do that this afternoon. So there's the backing paper. I've cut 2 of those tags and they're going to sit on there like so. So I'm just going to work on this one tag first of all. Let's bring my stamping platform in. Oh look, Creative Craft Products again. Do you think I like the brand? Just a little bit. So pop this, hold this still as best I can, and I'm going to take this lighthouse. It is a beautiful image. This is actually, I didn't mention, it's all from, or these ones at the top here are in association with or designed by Hunky Dory, For the Love of Stamps, that brand. So you are getting branded stamps within these, as well as our own that all coordinate for you as well. It is Mrs. Stationery and Stuff says it's worth the deal. Yeah, definitely. Fifi Stamper, hello to you. Love creative stamping. Stamping was my first love in papercraft. Love a good stamping session. Oh, I do. That's my go-to, and I think because it's the closest to mixed media as well. I love it. So I'm going to be stamping this slightly off. The tag is pushed up against the side of the... Can you see that? because it's all white at the moment, isn't it? So I apologise, you'll see in a moment. So I'm just going to put that on there. Now this is a technique I've done loads of times. I discovered it by accident. Lots of other people are doing it now. That's fine, that's what we all share craft for, but I'm saying it's my technique. So I'm going to take, oh no, I didn't put the lid on my glue. This is why I need someone with me. Now I'm going to be spritzing my paper. First of all, a few light spritzes and let that start soaking in. As I said, I am using a watercolor paper. So I die cut from the tag a watercolor paper. We've got loads at CraftStash, you'll find there. We've got Dina Wakeley. We've got, what's this brand? I always forget what it's called. Gold Line, a big pad of it. 100 sheets, and it's wonderful. We've got lots of others as well. Tim Holtz. I say that when they're in stock. I can't promise everything that I've just named is in stock, but there's loads of it. So now that I can just see the paper starting to lift and warp slightly with the water, so that's good. I've just put weathered wood distress ink. I would say distress ink. Oxide doesn't quite work the same for this technique. I'm going to come over, I'm going to press this ink into the wet paper. It's not wet, it's damp, okay? Press that in. Now this colour might be a little bit pale. You still can't see that. I'm having to put a shadow on it so you can see it. Okay, you'll see more in a moment, don't worry. I think I'm actually going to go with a slightly darker colour. Let's go, if I go too dark though, if I go too dark, no, let's just do some more of this. Let's just do a bit more ink and then it'll all become clear in a minute. Right, so another spritz. Now you might be thinking, well, if you're making your paper wet, surely that's going to make the ink run everywhere. Yes, exactly, that's what we want. We want the ink to wick. We want it to run out. We want it to spread further than the outline. So pressing that down, let the ink spread out. Can you see we've got these blotchy areas? That's what we want, okay? So I'm just now going to take my heat gun. I've got the quietest heat gun I can find. I'm just going to heat set this. The watercolour paper will absorb the moisture really quickly, so it won't take long at all. I've got a small area there, it's a bit of a puddle, so I can just lift that off to help the drying. Now, you may be able to see that's quite a blurry image. I'll lift that up in a second and put it at the right angle so you can see. It is a blurry image at the moment, but we'll do something with that in a second. In fact, I'm not going to lift the paper up off the stamping platform. It's really important that you use the stamping platform. Leave the paper on there. There we go. So can you see that is a blurry image? Okay, that's what we wanted. That's why we sprayed the water before and then sprayed it again afterwards. Now I'm going to take, let's take just VersaFine. VersaFine clay is perfect for this. Memento as well, I think works really well with this. Something that's not going to react with the water and something that's going to give you a nice, clear, dark line. And this will do. So all over the stamp. Can you see how beautifully it's stamped there? I know I'm doing a blurred image, but it does stamp beautifully. Let's just bring this over and stamp this directly back over the top. It's such a pretty, oh, I love that. Right, now I can lift this off and I can show you. I'm hoping you can see that clearly enough because I did use a very pale colour. Can you see the grey, like the shadows from the weathered wood? Because weathered wood is, it's kind of a blue, but it's also kind of a grey. Now, when you look at the backing paper, where's my card base gone? Is it under here? No. I've put it somewhere, haven't I? Can anyone tell me where I put my card base that I just made? Goodness sake. Oh, it's under here. Right, so if you look at this paper, it's not a bright blue. I didn't want a bright blue, say for example, Blueprint Sketch, to detract from this background. It would just look odd if it was a different blue, so I've used a grey blue. So hopefully you can see that. Now for me, I don't have the patience very often to colour in stamped images, so I'm always looking for ways of creating stamped images quickly that have some colour in them. So there's this way. You've also of course got the option oh, I need to now clean my stamping platform. You've got the option of taking a water brush pen. In fact, let me do that with the anchor, because I've already done the anchor and I've already cut that out. Just let that dry. But I want to show you how I did it as well, because it is a lovely technique. So let's take this anchor from here. Let's find my platform. I've taken, what did I use? I believe I used black soot in a distress ink. Now black soot, the ink is quite black, but the oxide is more of a charcoal grey. But this works better if you're looking for the reaction with water, like it to spread and things. You want to go with the inks. So let's just stamp this lovely anchor. Now that is a beautiful image anyway. But if I take just my water pen and just very lightly brush over, you can see it's pulling the ink from the outline. Now I'm doing it ever so lightly with a damp brush, not a wet brush, just a damp brush, and it's just spreading the line, and then I'm moving on. And I don't want to cover over the line with colour. I want the line to still be the darker area so you can see all the shading. So that's all I've done. You can see how quickly I can colour that in. It just saves me going in with finding the right colour pens and things like that. A little bit of water will colour that in. So I have done that with this. So I've just stamped it in black soot. Now I happen to have a little bit of yellow left on my water brush, which has made this look like a yellow, a warmer silver colour. And then I did, with the brown rope, all I did was I made sure my brush was clean and again damp, so squeeze a little bit of water through it. It's almost as if I've got yellow water in there, weirdly. I'm not sure why that's happened. You can just pick up a little bit of ink from your water brush, from your ink pad onto your water brush, and you can go over and colour like that. So if you've never tried that with your distress inks, they're almost like sort of watercolour paints. You don't want to put water onto there, you're just lifting a little bit of ink up. Or you can spread a little bit of ink onto a glass mat or a blending mat and pick it up like that. Okay, so that's how I've coloured in my anchor, which is going to sit as an embellishment. I just want to, let's use this brown. I've got some ink on here. So I've stamped, oh no, it's running out. Let's not use the ink on there. Let's put these to the side. So I've got that walnut stain as well. I'm just going to brush around the edge. I've stamped "You're my anchor." I love that. It kind of reminded me a little bit of, if you watch Friends, anybody, if anyone watches Friends and they know it word for word like my family, you'll know the phrase, he's her lobster, no? Or she's his lobster. Either way, you're my lobster. You'll know that phrase. And I just thought of that when you're my anchor. I thought it's very similar, isn't it? So let's put this card together because I'm getting towards the end. I need to pick somebody to win that subscription. Very exciting. Right, now I did leave the lid off of this glue. Is it still going to work? Yes. Good old Sizzix Express glue. Doesn't clog up for ages. Love that. So backing paper down. Hopefully I've managed to inspire you with the elements that you're getting with these magazines today, and hopefully that will kind of encourage you to go on to CraftStash and have a look at the magazines we've got. If you know, sometimes you just completely forget that a magazine has come out and you've forgotten to go down to the shops and get it, and next thing you know, you go down there and the next one is out or they've sold out. We've got so many back issues over on CraftStash. Go and have a look at those as well. So just gluing in the middle there. I'm going to offset this, but I want to offset it and make sure that I can still get a piece of twine through the hole there at the top. So just giving that a slightly staggered look. Pop that on there. There's a good girl. Remember that. I need a helper. Any volunteers? Let me see. Karina, what are the water brushes that don't flood? Because yours are awful. Oh dear. My ones... I got them off CraftStash. I must admit I can't remember the brand. It doesn't have a brand written on it. I used to have the Prima Marketing ones, but I think the trick is some people will hold it. If you look carefully at the barrel, there is a push on each side, certainly on these ones, and that's where you squeeze it, and some people will naturally hold it there by accident and don't realise they're squeezing all the time. So maybe try twisting or holding it a little bit higher up or lower down, see if that prevents that water coming out. And water barrels, water brushes, very often they twist on the opposite way, don't they? Catches me out every single time. Twine, there it is. Oh no, look what I've done. Who spotted that? That's all right, it's lifted off. Blob of yellow out of the brush. So I'm just going to squeeze this bit of twine through the smallest gap that we've got there. Whoops. Come on, it is a small gap, so I am going to have to really squeeze it through. There we go. Now, in an ideal world, I'd like to tie my twine by doubling it up and then feeding the folded end through and the twine ends through that folded end, if that makes sense. But I couldn't do it because the hole was too small on this tag. So I've just done a quick double knot instead, not too tight either, so it falls loose, so we've got a little bit of movement. I like movement, as you saw from the owl. I do like a card with a bit of movement. Some foam tape to lift this off. So this kind of got a vintage feel to it, this card. This would be nice for a masculine one as well. Going to pop You're My Anchor on there as well. Let's just see, yeah, this end. Make sure that the foam tape is going the end that I need it to go. You've got the sentiments in here as well. So this is creative stamping. Let me just double check the number because I do get confused with them. 110, 110, 110. Karen Price, definitely inspiration on both magazines. Thank you. Tough decisions on which to choose. Why choose one? That's what I say. Why go for one? Everyone's got a budget. I get that. I get that. I ignore my budget and then I get told off by my husband for ignoring my budget. He's very understanding. I always tell him, it's for work. He plays football. So he has his things. If anyone's got a partner or a family member that plays football or rugby or any of those, the boots, and he's a goalkeeper, so the gloves, you know, they all cost an absolute fortune. I'm talking hundreds. So a few pennies on some craft items. Can't complain, can he? There we go. So you've got that stamping technique that's super, super quick. So use your water-based inks. I've used Distress ink. It does work better than oxide to add a little bit of colour peeking out from behind. Then stamp with a Versamark, a Memento, something like that. The detail back on top. Dry the cardstock off first though. So just in case there's any reaction with the ink you've chosen. I've just got the little anchor there and the sentiment. And let's bring in case any of you didn't join us right from the beginning, we also use Simply Made Crafts, the brand new issue, which is 232, and we've just used the owl die set and the stamps to create a swinging owl card too. So if you did miss either of the demonstrations, you can obviously go back, you can watch it from the beginning. We will get these demonstrations uploaded to YouTube individually as well. So that's Simply Cards and Papercraft, and we've got creative stamping. Now I think I need to choose a winner. Let me come back to myself so you can just see those offers again. So like I say, we've got Simply Cards and Papercraft, is the new magazine, the one I made the owl with. That's only £8.99. Now that's like just under £9 for the dies, for the stamps and for the magazine. It's such a bargain. Now I need to have a scroll. Let me see, I need to scroll up because of course I asked the question near the beginning, so I do need to scroll up, and I'm just going to randomly, and whoever's comment is nearest to that says which is their favourite magazine, is you're the winner of the subscription. Okay, there. Oh, Gina Colley. I love a Papercraft magazine. I buy them all. That'll do. That'll do. There you go. Gina, you have won a subscription, 6-month subscription to Simply Cards and Papercraft. You no longer need to be buying Simply Cards and Papercraft for the next 6 months, but you will need to email customer services, so CraftStash customer services. I think it's customer service at craftstash.co.uk. You'll find the email on the website anyway. Email them, give them your name, your address, and your phone number. We need your phone number as well so that we can get your subscription set up for you for the next 6 months. Congratulations to you, and thank you so much everybody else for commenting and for joining me when I'm on my own. I love that you comment all the way through, and I have things to read. I will go through now and I'll answer any questions that I missed as I went through. Join me next week. We've got new launches next week as well. We've got lots coming up because of course it's Christmas in July. Now, have you seen the emails? Have you seen the YouTube channel? We've got our Christmas in July blog hop now started. Started this morning with myself, more of me, I apologise. But throughout the next 9 days, we are going to have a different designer. That is the designers of our exclusive brands. So Sam Calcott, Christina Griffiths, Helen Griffin. Who else have we got joining us? I've forgotten names, so I'm going to get in trouble for this. There's lots of us. And we've also got design team members as well. So Marta the Beach Car, we have got Sandy Nagel. We've also got, who else is joining us? There's lots of people. So we're all going to be putting a video up on our own YouTube channel. Oh, Sheena Douglas. I knew there was someone I missed. Because she's new. You know, you're not part of the furniture yet, Sheena. I'm joking, you are. Love you lots. We're all putting a video up on our own YouTube for part of the Christmas in July blog hop. That's first thing in the morning, every morning, a new video on a new channel. Sign up to the CraftStash emails. You get all the details there. There's a prize to win every single day on the individual channels. You do need to like, subscribe to the channels and then comment on the video as well. There's a question to answer in the description of each video. And then there's a grand prize as well. So you'll need to go ahead to the CraftStash blog. That's www.craftstash.co.uk/inspiration to find out details about how to enter for the grand prize. That's worth over £100. So that's well worth it, isn't it? So I will see you very soon, everybody. Have a fantastic weekend, crafty weekend, I hope, and I hope the weather stays lovely for you all. And I'll see you again next week with lots more fun and probably lots of Christmas.